Spirit Airlines is dead. May 2nd, 2026. Gone. 34 years of operation, 17,000 jobs, 1.8 million booked seats. Wiped out overnight. And you know what their final message to customers was? I want you to hear this because this is almost too perfect. All flights have been canceled and customer service is no longer available. Think about that for a second. That's not just a shutdown notice. They have written their own obituary. And what makes it even more ridiculous is that for Spirit Airlines, customer service was never really available to begin with. That was the whole model. Strip everything out, keep the price low, and hope nobody notices what's missing. Well, they noticed. Now look, the headlines are blaming jet fuel costs from the Iran war. The politicians are pointing fingers at each other. Trump says it's Biden's fault. Biden's not saying anything because, well, he's Biden. And yeah, fuel costs crushed them. But here's what nobody in the financial press is saying. Spirit didn't die because of fuel prices. Fuel prices just finished the job that their business model started years ago. Here's what I mean. When I was a senior leader at Walt Disney World, we had something called a service manifesto. 4 words. Create happiness for guests. That was it. Every single decision, every cast member, every policy, every process ran through that filter. You don't just change bed sheets at Disney. You create happiness. You don't just sweep the street. You create happiness. Spirit's manifesto? Well, geez, if they had one, was probably 2 words. Be cheap. And look, cheap works for a while. Spirit actually made money. They were in the top 3 most profitable airlines in the country at one point. But cheap is not a service standard. Cheap is a price point. And the second your cost structure shifts, the second the big guys decide to copy your low fares, the second jet fuel goes sideways because somebody started a war, cheap evaporates. What doesn't evaporate is an experience people can't get anywhere else. If the only reason your clients stay is because you're the least expensive option on the market, you don't have clients. You have hostages, and they are actively looking for a better deal. The minute somebody undercuts you by $50 a month, they're gone. Why? Because you never gave them a reason to be loyal. Spirit Airlines built an $8 billion company on the promise that they could not keep forever. You might be building your business the same way right now and not even know it. So here's the question I want you sitting with this week. If you raised your prices 20% tomorrow, which clients would stay without blinking? Write down those names. Those are your real clients, the ones who stay because of how you make them feel, how you communicate, how consistent and predictable your experience is. Those clients aren't comparing you to the cheapest option in town. They're comparing you to the worst experience they ever had somewhere else. And if you can't write down one single name, you don't have a pricing problem. You have a service and experience problem. Disney does not compete on price. Ritz-Carlton doesn't compete on price. My carpet cleaning here in the Eastern Shore of Maryland does not compete on price. And we've raised prices every single year since 2010. You know what all 3 of those have in common? A service standard that exists whether or not it's convenient, whether or not it's cheap to deliver, whether or not a cast member or employee feels like it that morning. Spirit had bright yellow planes and low fares. That's not a standard. That is a costume. Build the standard first. Price accordingly. Then, when the market gets weird, when fuel spikes, when a competitor drops their rates, or when the economy does something stupid, you've got something underneath you that holds. Spirit didn't. Now they're gone. Don't be Spirit. If you want to know how to build a service standard that actually sticks, grab my book Systematic Magic over at vancemorris.com. It's the same system I used to build the #1 character dining destination in the entire Walt Disney Company. And I promise, it's a lot cheaper than an $8 billion bankruptcy.